Hi, my name is Jessica Tice. The purpose of this project is to identify one student that speaks English as a second language. This project will include some information about her cultural background, information about her school, her current ESL services, her WIDA scores, assessments that are used by her teachers, any accommodations that are made for her based on those scores. And then I've interviewed her teachers to kind of help make some modifications for her assessments that she's taking now. This is in fulfillment for EDU 581 with Dr. Brody. First, I'd like to go ahead and talk about my cooperative teacher for this project. All student names, school names, and teacher names are going to be kept confidential, so we'll just use abbreviations for all of those. And this is Miss M, and she teaches at the high school and middle school where our identified student goes to school at. So would you like to talk about your background a little bit and tell what you do at your school?
Oh, I'm Miss M. I graduated from Ohio University with a degree in elementary education, and then I received a second certification through Marshall University to teach math. So I currently am teaching 7th grade math and collaborating with the high school algebra class and a remediation class to prepare for college and career readiness.
All right. So our student we're going to refer to as JP. She is a female in 11th grade from a school here in Central Kentucky. She also has a younger brother here who Miss M sees in the middle school. They are both Hispanic. She transferred here in 2010. They first moved to Texas when they came to America from Mexico, but they've been in Kentucky in the school district since 2010. She's currently living with both parents. Mom works in the agriculture department or field, and father works in manufacturing. In their home, they speak Spanish. Her family they're very devout Catholics. Miss M was able to get some information about what church she attends, was told some stories about how she was able to visit the Pope recently when he visited the United States. Some other things about her background that may be important is all of her teachers have given these exciting things about her school life. Things like she's a Key Club member. Would you like to maybe explain a little bit about what Key Club is or what they do?
I'm not sure what they work with Kiwanis Club.
Okay, and that's kind of what I gathered too. It seems like they do a lot of community service. Her teachers have also talked about she's very active in playing soccer, and she's in an Academy of Health Sciences class at her school that she's very interested in. I'd like to go ahead and give a list of the classes that she takes before I break down into what the teacher interviews were like. She is taking a fusion course, a visual arts course, a college prep English course, a body structures and functions course, fitness and weight, college prep math, and art history. And the body structures and functions is part of the Academy of Health Sciences that's available at her school. And when I read further into this and asked questions about this program, it seems like there are only 8 schools in the state of Kentucky that offer these types of academies, and this particular school is the only one that has a health sciences academy. So I thought that was very neat that she's interested in those types of things.
That is ran by a nurse, an RN, Miss Majewski, and they do community service in nursing homes. They do CPR certification, as well as, all the organs of the body, the skeletal muscles. It's an intensive course.
And when Miss M talked to JP about some things that she was going to be interested in, as an adult and when she goes out of high school, she did mention that she hopes to pursue college in some form of medical career, that she's really thinking about nursing, and then hopefully receiving some type of scholarship to play soccer while she's in college as well. Before I go on any further about her teacher interviews, would you like to describe what your school is like a little bit before I move on to the interviews? I know it's a very small school.
It's a small school. The high school and the middle school are in one building, though we try to keep populations separated. Small class sizes, so we get to know the students well. We do any remediation, there's not opportunities for students to fall through the cracks in a small district.
So when I was reading the school report card, it seems like there are only 201 students at this school as far as the 9th through 12th grade is concerned. I didn't dive into the middle school portion. There's not a large Hispanic population at the school. It's only 7%, and then 25% was African American. The school does qualify for Title I services. They do have an ESL teacher there that also services their middle school.
We also, as part of Title I, receive free breakfast and lunch for every student.
That is awesome. When JP's family enrolled them in this district, what happens to flag that the child is needing ESL services is when they enroll, the parents have marked on a form, an enrollment form, that and a language other than English has been spoken in the home, and in this case it was Spanish. So from that point, she and her brother were given a screener, a WIDA access test to determine what types of services they would be eligible for, and then what types of modifications and things that ESL teacher could do for the teachers there at their school. I'd like to go on and talk about the interview process that was done for JP's teachers. I'd sent an email out to each individual teacher that she goes and meets with through the course of her day, and I asked them about what their program is, what types of assessments they use, and then if they had any opinions on JP's performance of in their classroom. So the first teacher that I had spoken with via email was Mrs. D.B., that is the fusion teacher. This class I was a little confused on what they did or what the standards were. She mentioned that it was a foundation in technology, that they're gaining extra credits towards graduation. They use a lot of technology in this class. They're working on life skills that will help prepare them for the future. Do you have anything else to talk about the fusion class as far as what it is?
The idea about the program, it's new this year, but students, it's based on their interest.
Okay.
They decide what they would like to study and make an outline for Miss DB and describe what they want to look into, and she makes suggestions, and so it's all, if they're interested in it, the better they're going to do with the project.
Currently, Mrs. DB stated that they're working on a PowerPoint as their form of assessment for this 9 weeks. So by the end of the 9 weeks, they have a 15-slide PowerPoint that their students will be assessed on, and she had a rubric to go along with that. She states that JP does very well in her room when using the computer to make her PowerPoints, but occasionally struggles with the flow of her writing. Moving on to her next teacher, JP's art teacher, Mrs. W, has her for 2 different classes, so I'd like to talk about her first course, which is visual arts. And she stated that the purpose of the visual arts course was to give students an opportunity to use their artistic abilities, mainly through drawing and photorealism. And then they are required to turn in 3 major projects by the end of each 9 weeks. And that is their assessment. She stated that JP always turns in her assignments on time and brings all of her materials that are needed to class. She's very artistic and excels in this advanced art class and is making a nice portfolio. She also adds that JP attends different art events that are held by the school. She felt like there wasn't a real need of a modification, but sometimes in her room she will reread instructions or repeat instructions or paraphrase. Now, as far as her art history course that she has with Mrs. W, it seems like they're required to write a lot more and write reports using various rubrics that the teacher has created on famous artists or art pieces throughout the course of each 9 weeks. She states in this course that JP struggles more with the readings and writing objectives in the class. Is there anything that you want to add about that one? I know you mentioned that that was a very difficult course.
I have some of those students taking that class, and it is very intensive. A lot of work, which JP has got an excellent work ethic. Mm-hmm. She does keep up well, but it does take her longer to get some of the projects done.
Okay. The next course that I'm going to go over was her college prep English class. She has Mrs. M for this class. Mrs. M basically explained that the purpose of this course was to make them college ready for English, and that each year in high school they were required to take an English course to be able to graduate. She said there are many forms of assessment in this class. They start with bell ringers, they have reading assignments, writing assignments, multiple choice tests that go along with these units that she's teaching. So there may be bubble in answers, fill in the blank questions, short response, extended response. She said that she would assume that JP probably struggles the most with this course in comparison to all the other courses that she has. Sometimes she has a difficult time putting her ideas on paper or summarizing the things that she has read. And the next course that I was going to talk about was her Body Structures and Functions course with Mrs. MJ. This is part of the Health Sciences Department, and Miss May has already kind of described that for you and explained the different types of activities that they have to do. They're assessed on CPR, other performance-based activities that go along with the Academy of Health Sciences. She also has a fitness and weight class with a Mr. M, and he stated that they have one large project at the end of each 9 weeks. They're asked to choose a fitness program and then compare it to whatever program they're using in the room. He said some great examples were CrossFit, Total Beachbody, different things like that. And then they have to compare it to the program they're using in class. He said currently they're using Insanity. So their project, they have a rubric to compare and contrast those 2 fitness programs. He mentioned that this project could be done paired or solo. They have 3 periods with him that they're able to work on it. This 9 weeks, JP has decided to work on this project independently. He states that she does well in this class. Like most of the other teachers have stated, sometimes she struggles with the writing or reading aspects. Do you have anything else you want to mention about fitness or weight?
No. Though she is an excellent shape.
Lastly, Mrs. May teaches JP for math. I know she's already mentioned about the schools that she's attended. I think the main focus that I've gotten from you as far as this course is concerned is that you want her to be college